I overheard my girlfriend laughing at me in front of her best friend, and it hit me hard. It was like a punch to the gut. Her name's Jenna. She's 28, and we've been together for a little over 2 years now. I'm 33, and I work as a vet. We met at the clinic where I work. Jenna had just moved to town and brought in her dog, who had an ear infection. What was supposed to be a quick 15-minute checkup turned into a full hour of talking. I'd never felt this way about a woman before. Before Jenna, I lived a pretty carefree life, just bouncing from one short-term relationship to the next. I had started to think I might end up alone forever, and honestly, that thought didn't feel as bad as my empty, never-ending cycle of meaningless flings. Jenna's a total catch. She's confident, super outgoing, and has tons of friends. Her best friend is this guy named Dylan, who she's known for years. I trust Jenna, but I can't lie and say I'm completely comfortable with their friendship. It doesn't make me mad or upset, though. Jenna's always told me they've never been anything more than friends, and I believe her. I've always felt secure enough in myself to accept their relationship, and I even tried to get along with Dylan. He's come into town a few times now, and he's a cool guy, but to be honest, I don't think he likes me all that much. Jenna says he's just protective of her, but I've got a feeling it's more about jealousy than anything else. This past spring, Jenna finished her postgraduate studies, and it was tough for her to land a job. We've been living together for about a year now, and I get that she hasn't been able to chip in for rent or other bills yet. Financially, I'm doing fine, so it wasn't a big deal to me. But I didn't want to be the reason she wasn't pushing herself to find work, you know? I think it's important for everyone to be financially independent. So, I made it clear that as soon as she found a job, she'd need to start splitting the expenses. Then on Monday, she texted me saying she got the job. It was something she really wanted, and the interview had been tough. I was so proud of her, I decided to leave work early without telling her. I handed off my tasks to my staff, grabbed her favorite bottle of wine, picked up Chinese food, also her favorite, and even bought flowers. A few weeks ago, Jenna spotted this beautiful necklace in a store. It wasn't too expensive, but it had a shark on it, and she's obsessed with everything related to sharks. So I secretly bought it and hid it away in the basement, planning to give it to her as a surprise when she'd forgotten all about it. When I got home, I took the side entrance to the basement to grab the necklace, excited to surprise her. As I came up the stairs, I could hear Jenna talking on the phone. Normally, I'd never eavesdrop, but this time, I heard her laughing so hard it almost sounded like she was in tears. I thought it was cute, so I decided to wait until she finished talking before I made my grand reveal. She was talking to Dylan, which wasn't surprising. They catch up at least once a week. But then, I heard what they were laughing about. Took me a minute to realize that she was laughing at our intimate life. I heard her say something like, "No, he's not even close to the ex. The ex had at least 8 centimeters more. Every time I eat a small carrot, I actually feel bad for him because it must be traumatic for him to watch me take a bite out of something the same size. It would almost be cute if it wasn't so humiliating." She said he had an amazing body, but once he takes off his boxers, well, that's when the real laughs start. Look, I don't care what random people on the internet think about the size of, well, that part of me. But what bothered me was that what she was laughing about wasn't even close to the truth. And honestly, that made it sting even more. I don't know anything about her ex, maybe the guy was a giant, but I'm just average. Just an old, kind, average guy. Not anything crazy, but it's not a reason to laugh about it. I've never been one to lie about who I am, and hearing my girlfriend talk about me like that, especially with a guy I already had doubts about, felt off. No, scratch that. Off doesn't even begin to describe how it made me feel. She also made fun of me for being good-looking but not very smart. Well, I actually am pretty smart, but whatever. It didn't bother me that much, especially knowing that the smart guy with the average stuff is also the one who's got it all. After hearing that, though, I just left. Did I throw the flowers out of the car window? Yeah. Did I cry in the parking lot? Absolutely. I think she heard the door slam when I left the basement, or maybe she saw my car drive away because she immediately started texting me, asking when I'd be home. This all happened on Monday, and honestly, I still haven't brought it up to her. I don't even know where to start. It's awkward, painful, and really messed up, but damn, I love this girl. I know I need to talk to her about it, but how? How do you even start that kind of conversation? I'm feeling all sorts of hurt and confusion, and I don't know if I can ever forgive her for what she said. Update. I've made my decision. I'm definitely going to break up with Jenna. I met up with 3 friends for a beer today, and after telling them what happened, they all agreed with what you all said: break up and do it fast. I even called my mom and told her everything. Yes, everything. It was embarrassing, but we're close, and I needed to explain it to her. Honestly, I've never heard her so angry in my life. She knew I had bought a ring for Jenna, so I'll post an update after I've done what I need to do. I'm sure it'll be tomorrow. Emotionally, I'm completely drained, but I want to thank everyone for all the comments and support. I honestly didn't expect so many people to be on my side. Final update. Well, I managed to do it. I broke up with Jenna on Thursday evening. Let me tell you, those few days leading up to it were the most dramatic of my life. I'm wiped out. From her side, everything was pretty ugly. Sorry for the long post, but so much went down. Taking everyone's advice, I decided to meet her in public. The thinking behind that was, a person who can be that cruel and lie like she did might try to twist the situation, and I didn't want her turning it around to make it seem like she left me because I was abusive or something else crazy. I'd like to think she wouldn't do anything like that, but who knows? After everything that happened, it was better to be safe than sorry. At first, I thought about just packing up her stuff and breaking up without saying a word, but after 2 years together, I figured it was better to talk things through and listen to her. If she has some kind of explanation, I wanted to hear it, even though it wouldn't change my decision to end things. So, I took her to a wine bar in the city center. There are these little private booths with curtains, perfect for a serious conversation. Since Monday, Jenna's been acting like an angel, which gave me 3 possible reasons for her sudden change. She felt guilty for how she treated me. B. She thought I might have hurt her and was trying to cover it up. Or C. She noticed I was distant and didn't know why. She was obviously frustrated, and even with everything that happened, I've got to admit, she looked incredible. She was also really affectionate, constantly dropping these weird, suggestive comments about what she wanted to do with me later. Normally, I'd be all for it, but given the situation, it was hard to hear and keep my cool. I kept telling myself what I was going to say, so as soon as we sat down and the wine arrived, I started. I don't remember everything word for word. Adrenaline was running high, and now it all feels a bit blurry, but I began by telling her how much I love her. I said she was the only woman I'd ever felt this connected to, the only one I'd ever opened up to like this. I told her I even thought about marriage with her, that I had gone out to pick a ring. I didn't mention that I'd already bought it or how I imagined us having kids in the next few years. She interrupted me a few times with, "Oh, that's so sweet," or telling me how much she loved me. Then I looked her right in the eyes and asked her, point blank, if she loved me so much, why the hell did she laugh at me in front of Dylan? Seeing her face at that moment gave me some satisfaction. She denied everything at first, acting like she had no clue what I was talking about. She said Dylan knows how much she loves me, that she never laughed at me when they talked. I just stared at her and said, "Come on, Jenna." Even after I told her I came home early on Monday and heard everything, she kept denying it. It was frustrating, but I stayed calm and just told her that we both knew she was lying, and what she said was unforgivable. I couldn't understand why she'd even say something like that, especially about Dylan, especially knowing she was lying just to make fun of me. But she kept denying it and acted like I was the one who was crazy. She said she loved me so much, that our intimate life was great, and that she'd never complain about my size. She went on about how she knew how smart and caring I am, and that's why she loved me. If I hadn't heard with my own ears what Dylan said, I might have believed her. Honestly, give her an Oscar for that performance. Some people asked if I was sure she was talking about me when I overheard her. When she was talking about her ex and his skills, she actually mentioned my name, comparing me to him. I'm absolutely certain she was talking about me, and that she lied straight to my face. I told her I'd take her home so she could grab what she needed for her dog. My brother and his wife would be at our place too. I wanted witnesses around, people who could confirm that I wasn't being aggressive and that I was letting her take her things. I told her I'd pack up the rest and leave it outside for her to pick up when she was ready. Jenna was in shock. She couldn't believe I was really breaking up with her. She begged me to reconsider, but my mind was made up, and I wasn't going to change it. It was hard to keep it together when she said how much she wanted to be with me forever, that she planned on being the mother of my kids. She kept asking what she should do and where she was supposed to sleep. I told her it wasn't my problem anymore, and that she had plenty of friends she could stay with until she found a place. All she needed to take were her clothes, toiletries, and a few small things. I had paid for the whole renovation of the house, so the rest wasn't hers. Then came the tears. Jenna started crying and saying she couldn't understand how I could do this to her. She kept repeating that she thought I was a good guy. I told her I was a good guy, and that's why I wasn't throwing her stuff out in the yard or changing the locks without explanation. But honestly, the woman managed to hurt me even more. She said she didn't know why she said all that stuff, but eventually admitted it. She said maybe it was just how she deals with things. She laughs at stuff that should make her cry. Apparently, she meant all the comments about my size. It was a little thing. Usually I don't go for cheap shots, but I told her if she wanted to, she could go back to her hometown and live with Dylan or her ex who had the 23 centimeters dignity. It was wild how quickly her tears vanished. Suddenly, I was a loser, a scumbag, a guy who couldn't handle women, and of course my small problem would leave me alone forever. She told me she never really loved me and had only stayed because she didn't want to hurt me. She said if I'd ever proposed, she would have turned me down. She called me a loser again and repeated the whole mini carrot comment. Oh, and I'd die alone, apparently. I told her that dying alone was better than being stuck in a marriage with someone who didn't love or respect me. Then she started screaming. Not saying anything, just screaming. And then she bolted, running out of the bar, calling me a disgusting pig. After I paid the bill and apologized to the waiter for the drama, I walked outside and saw Jenna standing there, crying. I know what she said was awful, and the stuff she said in the last few minutes hurt me deeply, but I still didn't like seeing her like that. I didn't want to just leave her on the street, so I told her I'd take her home so she could pack up. But once she had everything, she had to leave and go somewhere else. She agreed, and the entire drive home was filled with an uncomfortable silence. It was one of those trips where the air feels thick with tension. When we got back, my brother was there with his wife. His wife stayed inside while Jenna packed up her stuff, and my brother waited for me out on the street. The process went surprisingly smoothly. Jenna grabbed her things, and before she left, I took the key to the house from her. She texted me all night long. Her messages shifted from apologies to sadness, then to anger, then back to sadness again. I didn't reply to any of them. In the morning, I sent her a simple message saying her things were waiting for her on the porch and that she could pick them up while I was at work. The entire day passed without hearing from Jenna, not until I was headed home from work. She sent me a message that was pretty much a wish for chaos, aimed at me and everyone else she could think of. I didn't answer. When I got home, I was hit with complete devastation. Everything was wrecked. I don't know if Jenna made a copy of my key without me knowing or if she has some secret lock-picking skills, but she somehow got in and completely trashed the place. She destroyed things that couldn't be replaced, tore up furniture, clogged the washing machines, left the water running, and opened the fridge, scattering food all over the kitchen. The place was unrecognizable. The only good thing she did was lock my 2 dogs in one of the rooms, probably so they wouldn't hurt themselves on the broken glass or eat the food everywhere. I have 2 cars, one for everyday use and an SUV for work. The SUV is what I use when I need to transport large or exotic animals to the clinic. Amid all the madness, I forgot that I'd given her a key to the SUV in case of an emergency. I went outside to check on it, and of course she had destroyed it. Flour was scattered inside, and tomato sauce was spilled everywhere. Things are just things, I get that. But what really left me stunned was how she could be so childish and petty after everything we'd just gone through. Couldn't believe it. Just last weekend, I took her to a show. We hung out with friends, played Monopoly, came up with our own drinking game, watched Netflix, and had a great time together. And now my house and car were destroyed, and I was completely at a loss for words. It's incredible how everything can turn upside down so quickly. It might not have been the classiest move on my part, but in my anger, I ended up ordering 22-kilo bags of mini carrots from this delivery site, all addressed to Jenna and her friend. 40 kilos of mini carrots were delivered within an hour. That evening, I got a lot of angry, offensive messages. Sure, it was a small thing, but I don't regret it, except that it was a waste of food. Hopefully, she can figure out something to do with all those carrots. I blocked Jenna last night after she kept sending me nasty messages. Honestly, I feel pretty down about everything and ended up crying a lot. I know deep down I made the right decision. Jenna is clearly emotionally unstable and immature. She's been cruel, and I know I deserve someone better. Since Monday, I've spent a lot of time reflecting on myself as a partner, trying to figure out what might have caused her resentment or discontent. I'll be honest, I work a lot. I try my best to make time for the people I love and not bring any negativity home, especially after tough days at work. But, of course, sometimes that happens. Jenna and I argued about this before. I really did try to adjust my schedule so I could be home in time and leave the hard stuff behind. But anyone who works as a veterinarian or knows someone in the field understands that we're always on call for emergencies. Sometimes we have patients who need to be checked on or have to stay overnight with us. It's not always easy. I have an incredible staff who handles most things, but even on my days off or vacation, I still get calls or texts. I'm sure there were moments when Jenna felt second to my work, and I know she mentioned that to me before. I did try to make changes, but there's only so much you can do. As far as I remember, I never acted out of anger or rudeness. Yeah, there were bad days when I was irritable, but we've had arguments and disagreements, nothing toxic or unhealthy. I really thought we had a strong relationship and that we were both happy. I know I was happy. It's hard not to doubt yourself in a situation like this, wondering if I disappointed or neglected her so much that she felt unloved enough to act the way she did. I don't know. What I do know for sure is that no matter what, her words and actions during the breakup were completely unacceptable. I didn't deserve that, and it's on her conscience. I went ahead and filed a report with the police and took photos of the damage to the house. I'm hoping they'll help with the insurance claim to at least cover some of the losses. As for the police, I doubt much will come from it, since there's no real proof that Jenna was the one who did it. Honestly, though, I just don't want to see her again. I'm hoping the insurance company will take care of the damage, and I can just move on with my life. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like.